Hey guys, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about my ayahuasca experience number 3. It was very good, but it wasn't quite as strong as my first 2. So I was feeling sick, like queasy and nauseous just walking into the chosa. The smell of the wood, I don't know if it was damp, or I don't know if my mind connected it with the times that I was purging in the first 2, but just the smell of the wood, and as the fire started to get stoked, I felt sicker and sicker and sicker. I actually started to doubt whether or not I even wanted to do the experience. I started having ideas like, oh, maybe I should tell them I'm done. I had my 2 great experiences. The first one showed me visions of heaven and how we should live, and number 2, I got to meet God and see my path and forgive all of my past sins and forgive my family and love my family and forgive myself. But these were thoughts that were playing in my head. So as these negative thoughts are playing in my head, like I want to quit and oh my gosh, I just don't feel right, my stomach and my body are nauseous. So this connection of kind of negative thoughts of quitting as well as the sickness within my body was just really matching up and reinforcing each other. I try to get within my personal space. I went out and sat in the hammock for a while. I stood by the river. I said some prayers. But I just wasn't feeling it, which is so bizarre because, my first experience was beautiful. And my second experience was even more beautiful. It was life-changing. It was, And why shouldn't I be excited about this third experience? This is what I'm telling myself in my mind. So as I'm feeling anxious and nervous, rather than just feeling the anxiety and nerves and riding my feelings like a wave, I was resisting it. And I believe that's what was causing a lot of my issues and problems. Well, we started the ceremony, and I wasn't even sure if I was going to be able to get it down. And if I was going to be able to get it down, I wasn't positive I was going to be able to hold it down for more than 5 minutes. But surprisingly, I was able to keep it down. And I just said, you know what, fuck it. Forget about all your thoughts. Just get into your breathing. Focus on the fire. But there really wasn't a fire. Because of the rain, the wood was kind of wet. And so we just kind of had a few embers to look at. Or even just the glow of the embers off the wood. So not quite that beautiful, magnificent spirit of God flaming through the fire and flaming through the wood. It was more of just looking at the embers. And I felt weak. But as I breathed and as I focused on getting into my body and getting into my feelings and letting kind of the thoughts in my mind just kind of drift away like clouds, then I started to find some peace. And we were all there right around the fire. It was very quiet. I could kind of feel the mood around. I would kind of sense the mood that other people were also pretty quiet, but then I would also try to tell myself, stop sensing other people, focus on within. So I had a couple competing ideas going on, a couple things that weren't quite keeping me centered and whole, as I was in the first 2. Well, then, all of a sudden, the clouds just burst forth this torrent of rain, and it just showered heavily. And if you've ever been in a rainforest, then you know what I mean. It can come down pretty heavy and pretty quickly. So we all kind of shambled over to the chosa and got underneath it and into our beds. And as soon as I did that, then the smell of the fire or the embers inside the chosa hit me, and I just puked. I let it out, and I let it out hard. I let it out really hard. In fact, the next day, Sun, the facilitator, said that I let it out hardest. But it didn't last that long, so it was probably about 5 to 10 minutes of purging, and then I felt quite good. And then the fire and the smoke was nothing more than perhaps just a minor nuisance, nothing that stopped me from enjoying the trip. And as soon as I did that and I purged all that nasty shit out, my bad thoughts were gone, and I was in my body. And I started to feel good. and I started to feel the rhythm of the cosmos, and I started to feel God working within me, and I started to fill up with his power, and I started to fill up with the cosmic energy, and I started to tingle and fill up, and just until the cells of my body were pulsating or vibrating, and I just felt very, very good. Not quite as strong as the second ceremony, but quite nicely. And then I just started to, as I really got in my feelings, my thoughts corrected themselves. That's a little tip, actually. I learned the next day. Hassan had said it in words, but that's what I had experienced, is that when you try to control your feelings with your thoughts, you suppress your feelings and you're out of balance. But when you focus on your feelings, your thoughts get corrected. And that's exactly what happened to me. So as I was in my body and feeling all of the fibers of my body and expressing them, so I started moving around and started waving my hand as if I was conducting the symphony of the cosmos, as if we are in this great big cosmic dance, singing a song. And I was singing, actually. I was bordering between being considerate and not singing, but also I had to sing. That's what had to come out. So I sort of compromised and just kind of did a little low hum. And as I did that, I just felt wonderful and magnificent. And that's pretty much how my trip went. I just was in my feelings and in my body and just enjoying it and just filling up with happiness and filling up with love. And then thoughts started to come to me. I thought of, I got a picture of my old dog Cooper. Cooper's my favorite all-time dog, and I was very, very close with him. We used to go hiking in the hills alone in the dark. Sometimes when I was depressed as a teenager, he was the only guy with me. He knew that I was sad, and he would come to me and he would look at me with these big eyes, and I could still see them now. He was just an amazing dog. And I've had lots of great dogs, but for me, he was very, 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 very connected with me. And I saw him in my vision. And then I saw him with his cancer. You see, I was very close with Cooper, but then I left to Asia. I lived in China for years and Japan in years. And when I came back, he had a huge tumor. And I saw that he wasn't getting the attention and the love that he was getting when I was there. That's not a criticism on my family at all, but he was a family dog, but I felt some pain, and I don't think I had ever properly grieved. In fact, I remember I was talking to my wife just a couple months ago, and she had never even heard of Cooper, and when I talked about Cooper, I got all tight. And I didn't cry, I just got tight, and I stopped talking about him. Well, last night I realized I got tight because I didn't really properly grieve for his cancer. I didn't really grieve for his death. I didn't really grieve for what he meant to my life. So I just cried. I bawled, thinking of Cooper, visioning Cooper. I don't know why he came to me, but he did. I wasn't thinking about dogs, but he did, and I'm glad he did. He was very close to me. As you can still tell, I still have some grieving to do. Whew. But that's part of the healing process, so it's something I'm very, very thankful for. So after that, I went back into my body, and I had my hands up, and I'm twirling, and I'm conducting the symphony of the cosmos, and then ideas are coming to me again from the first one, which is heaven on earth. Why aren't we all singing and dancing? There is a music that just permeates the cosmos, that is all around us all the time. It's right there. You could be depressed, eating Cheetos, thinking about your boss, worried about your mom, worried about your car, worried about your bank account. But literally, happiness is right there. It's right in front of you. The cosmic energy, the cosmic dance is permeating all existence. But unfortunately, we're rarely in tune with it. And I say we in a general sense. I'm talking about the way that most modern people live. I'm sure that there's communities out there that are in tune with it, and people that that are in tune with it. I'm sure that our greatest artists and our greatest leaders and the happiest person in your neighborhood is in tune with it. It's beautiful, and it's all around us. And so I was in tune with it, so I was quite happy. And so I'm enjoying it. It wasn't a very psychedelic experience. There wasn't a lot of visions. Besides Cooper, not a whole lot that I can remember offhand. Now, one of these things about these trip reports, now I'm going to give you as much as I can think of in the moment, but it's not going to do the trips justice because there's lots and lots and lots of other things. So even after I did my second trip report, all sorts of other things that I thought about. Oh, okay, I just remembered one. So in my second trip report, all right, so when you take ayahuasca, it's not only you purge from up above, but you sometimes purge down below. And our facilitator said if you feel the urge and you might think you want to fart, don't do it. Just get up. We'll help you. Go to the bathroom because it might be diarrhea. So sometimes people shit their pants. It happens quite often. I like to live on the dangerous side, so I farted. And I farted a lot. I fart all the time. And I realized that I'm a farter. And actually, if you ask my family, I'm the guy that farts. I'm the guy with the stinky farts. And I'm the guy who farts out loud in front of other people. And then I realized I started laughing because I love it. I love fart humor. So it's something that is kind of crass and something you probably didn't want to hear. But it was something about me that... Anyways, so I started just busting up to my own farts. Yeah, that's ayahuasca. Such a spiritual experience, but it is. Yeah, so yeah, there wasn't that much beyond that. Cooper, the cosmic dance, and farts. Oh yeah, I did think about family members again. I thought about how excited I was about my future. I thought about children again. I thought about other things, but they didn't quite have the power that they did in the second experience, probably because I had already processed it. So that's another thing to bring up. So the third one was beautiful, and perhaps it wasn't as profound because I was experiencing and thinking about, or thoughts were coming to me and feeling lots of things that I had already experienced in ayahuasca session number 1 and ayahuasca session number 2. So it was almost just a sort of a reinforcement of a lot of the lessons that I had learned in the first one, with the addition of Cooper and farts. And yeah, that was ayahuasca number 3. And surprisingly, the next morning I was fine with the smell of the smoke, fine with the smell of the fire, no nausea at all. And I feel good, I feel great, I feel rested, I feel healthy, I feel excited, and I feel like I really have a good relationship with ayahuasca. I feel I have a good relationship with my God, and I feel I have a good relationship with my soul. And I'm going to walk in faith. Tonight is ayahuasca session number 4, and this will be my final one, at least on this particular trip to Ecuador. And I'm ready for a heavy dose, or a double dose even. So I'm going to take the strongest dose out of all of the ones that I've had. And I look forward to it. I look forward to any sort of messages or anything that comes my way. I'm going to surrender myself. That's the key, and that's the key, man. Surrender. Stop trying to control things. Surrender. Let things go. It's something you don't need to learn with ayahuasca, but ayahuasca is a very good teacher of it. You can learn it through traveling. Just let it go. You missed your bus? Oh well. Don't let it ruin your trip. Someone stole your phone? Just a phone. Don't lose your love. Don't lose your love. Don't lose your joy. Don't lose it for anyone or anything, because it's in you, and it can be in you always if you're in tune and you surrender. Love you guys. I'm going to go ahead and stop it there, and I've got about an hour or hour and a half before I head to ayahuasca number 4. Okay guys, I will see you on the other side.